Hey,
Hi.
how's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. I'm sick of my kid. Today's his last day of school, and it does not bode well for summer.
Next school year can't come soon enough.
Yeah.
Does he have a summer school or anything?
He has a camp that he goes to. Um,
Fancy.
yeah, there's um, like a YMCA camp, summer camp.
I
I
forgot my
think
hat.
I think it's like 9 to 3:30 or something, and you know, uh, kind of
How
an
long? How much of
idyllic
the summer
summer.
does that happen?
Like a lot of it. It's
Ooh.
we spend. It's kind of spendy, but he loves it, and it's like
But
he
your
gets to have
sanity,
this.
you can't put a price on your
You
sanity.
can't put a price tag on your sanity. We're doing it less this year than we have in years past.
Say that again.
We're sending him less this year than in years past.
Because he's all grown up.
Yeah, like if we can make it 3 weeks out of a month instead of 4 weeks, then we save, a quarter of the money. And like we can figure out what to do with him for a week.
Can you?
I say that, but yeah, this
Challenge
first day I'm already
accepted.
like, are your kids
Yeah.
off? Are they done?
One more day. We have one more day of school. It's tomorrow, obviously.
Okay.
Maybe not, obviously. Um, and it's already been finals week. Do you remember finals? Remember
Yeah.
doing finals in school? Yeah, so for my high schooler, it is finals week. And so her schedule's just like kind of all over the place. She went for 2 hours today. She
Yeah.
went to school for 2 hours today and then came home. Tomorrow she goes for 4 hours and then comes home.
And then she's done.
And then she's done. And then Olivia, the younger one, also only has a half day tomorrow. And then it's summer.
It's summer.
And yeah, I don't know. I haven't had. I definitely remember what you're talking about, especially when they were younger. Like I remember just being like, somebody needs to take these children away from me because I can't. I cannot stand this energy.
No, it's terrible. um, I'm like pretty excited to get into it, but
Okay.
if there's other stuff you want to talk about, we should.
Did you get your computer all sorted out?
I
You were
think
kind of
so.
doing stuff right before we started.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, I'm ready to roll.
We had homework.
Whenever. We did. We each had our own assignment. Did we share those assignments on stream?
I don't remember. Mine was to build a leaderboard so that when we get the users created and they count their cranks, then we would actually see some evidence of this in the form of a leaderboard.
Yes. So we can know if you crank more than I do or I crank more than you.
That's
Like
right.
that's the end goal.
That's what we're all doing this for.
Yeah, we have to compare. My homework was to do some research into images to give some sort of feedback while you were cranking. So I did that. You one-upped me by opening a PR.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll just acknowledge that you're better than me.
I mean, it's a PR to my personal little Rails app. There's not,
Sure.
nothing really to it. But
But I don't have anything like that. I mean, well, I have a branch in my local
yeah, that's sufficient.
environment that I can walk us through a few different things.
I
So
feel like we also said like we could actually do it. Like we could actually install it on device and like do all of the things.
yeah, we did talk about that. We also talked about. I have written down only one set of cranks per day.
Yeah. So far, we're pretty naive about how we're storing those cranks.
Where do you want to start?
I kind of want to like see the whole thing work and see and then see how you can just keep submitting cranks over and over, and that will like make me mad and make me want to fix that.
Is your playdate charged?
Yes. Is yours?
Okay, good. Mine is not.
We can just use our. Well, the thing about the simulators, and you gotta. Yeah, we can still.
Oh, I thought that's what I thought that's what you were saying was you wanted to see it on the device end to end.
But I mean, I also want to see like us
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
competing.
Sure.
Okay, so I'm gonna install on my device.
Okay.
So I'm going to present my screen. And I want entire screen 1. And I gotta move Chrome. Okay. All right. So when it comes to installing on device, I think you can like use the simulator to install it on your device. Or you can sideload it. And if you sideload it, then you have to like upload a zipped version of the thing. Do you know what I'm talking about, or am I making no sense?
It's vaguely familiar to me. I don't know the detail. I don't recall the details, but we definitely talked about this early on.
I'm gonna try the plugging it in approach.
Yeah. I think you did that. You had that working very early on.
So I plugged in.
I think it was probably just like a proof of concept thing. Are you aware that you have a prompt on your screen?
Oh, there we go. Thank you. Okay, that's one thing.
Wasn't sure if you were just like checking your email over there.
Okay, and then what do you do again? It's like
Device?
device. Upload game to device. That's
Yeah. That sounds good.
I think I just said aloud, but that's okay. All right, it is doing it.
Do you have a user ID that you know?
Uh-oh. This game is incompatible with your system version. Please go to system settings. Da da da. Okay, so remember I said there's a new SDK? I downloaded and installed the new SDK,
but it's not on the device yet.
Yeah.
Bummer.
So now I'm updating my device.
This is why we never update anything. Is the moral of the story.
It looks like it's going really fast, so this might not take very long at all.
Good.
And then yours is charging?
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, so your question was, do I have a user? I do. So this would be like run console. Did you make a user too?
I did at one point. I don't remember what it was.
Well, I got 16 crank users, so I don't know what's happening.
15 are the same one.
What do you mean?
Is it just all like test user, test user, test user, test user?
Well, we don't.
And then me.
We don't really even like have anything. It's just like the code. So
Yeah.
I don't even know like who made it or anything. But obviously, my crank user is going to be crank user find one. So that'll be my code. You want to be 2? That can be your
That's it? That's my code? Or my ID? Oh no, the code. I can't read that code. I can't read that red on black, man.
I know. You told me this.
Can you-
sometimes, and I never make it better. What if I chat it to you?
That's good.
Alright. Private chat.
Yeah, don't expose that.
I mean, anyone can just read it off the screen, but... Okay, cool. So I'm back to this. Okay, so now I can go back to... Back to simulator. And Nova. So I'm going to stop the thing, play the thing, get to here, device, upload game to device, off it goes.
What you drinking, John?
The old whiskey. All right, it's already installed on my device. So where I'm at is, I don't know if you can see my screen, but I'm at the place where you enter your code.
Oh, sweet. Yep.
So I'm going to do that. 620.
Oh yeah, did you chat me my code? You
I
did.
did.
There it
In the
is.
private chat.
Perfect.
829. Oh boy. I got an error screen.
Uh-oh. You've got a crash.
Yeah. So it's going to restart my play date. And then I'm going to open Crank Champ again. And I'm back here to enter my code. And I am feeling like something is not working. 6, 2, 0, 8, 2942. Yep. Okay, so
We got a problem.
yeah, we got a crasher. So I'm going to upload game to device again, and then I'm going to run with it attached and see if the console shows me some problem, or if it's like, like will it be like as if there were a crash in the simulator?
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Okay. Blah, blah. Okay. So, code time 6208. 6208. 2942. Okay. Attempt to index a nil value local table.
Oh, I know this. I know what this is.
So
I found this. I had this bug while I was messing around with stuff. I gotta switch branches here. There is a bug in, I believe it is in game data, and I don't know how we didn't find this. But somewhere we do local table equals playdate.datastore.read.
this one?
And I think when it doesn't exist, it returns nil for playdate.datastore.
So you can't call that read.
So we basically have to use a default. We have to basically do like a what is it, ternary type of thing. Like if it doesn't exist, then return something else.
Can I reproduce this in the simulator by deleting that data folder?
Yes, delete the data.
Great.
I think so. That's how I think that's how I made it happen.
Okay, so I will stop, and I will play.
Where is
Oh,
this?
and then I have to remember where this stupid folder is on my system.
It's in user data. User data save is where I was having troubles.
Disk. Yeah, data. Yes, this. Okay, so if I delete this folder now, I will experience this problem.
Delete that whole folder.
Okay.
I think so.
And then go back here, start. And then I don't really need to type in legit code. I just
Isn't that different though?
Yep, there it is.
Oh, there. Oh, it's on the save. Got it. Yeah, so you got nil for the table, and then you're trying to call or get the user code property on nil. So what I did with this to fix it locally was on line 13. I did or curly braces at the end. So it returns basically the word or.
Thank you.
And then, yep, like that. So now you get an empty table if it wasn't able to find anything when it read.
Can we look fix quick. This is sounding stupid to me. Not your solution, just like there's got to be.
No, it's fine. I see how it is.
This seems to be it's too fragile. They gotta have better API than that, right?
I think people probably are better programmers than us.
Got it. Okay, that's fair. Tough but fair. Data store. Yeah, this. Okay. So we are trying to read. If no file is found, this function returns nil. You assholes. Okay, I mean, I guess. So then I gotta do that up here too? I guess it is nil. Oh, right. So then it's... Right. So we dealt with nil on the init. We didn't deal with nil on the save. Got it. Okay, well. We will have to do this also in game data. Do you think?
I know that we have similar things in game data.
It's basically the exact same.
Yeah.
All right, well, I'm just going to do it. Okay, so if I run now. Oh boy, what is that? This is like bad simulator. Try again. Okay, back to green. Okay, so now I can run again. Well, I didn't need to stop there, but, and then I can upload my device. While that's cooking, let's get a commit in that fixes this. Get you in here. Get commit, and then this is like fallback and no data file. And it's like okay, great. And I can actually just push that to main because that's good.
I think that's a good idea.
Okay, so then I'm going to stop Nova. And then I'm going to enter my code to lithium. Okay. 6208 2942. Hey, I am now
That work?
sitting at the main game screen. I no longer
Cool.
have a blow up. So now I'm going to crank a couple times. Oh, it's so satisfying. All right, I did it. And then I can show you my extremely high score.
I can't read it. What did you get to?
19.
What?
Terrible to share this. Okay.
You're
I'm gonna hit,
a machine.
I'm going to go to my code. It's making a QR code for me. Grab my phone. Okay, so I got a QR code to come up.
Sweet.
I'm gonna hit it with
It's a
my
pretty small
phone.
QR code. We could probably make that QR code bigger.
Yeah, okay, so that worked. Now I'm here on my web app, and I'm going to create crank count for crank users 62082942. Had enough for today. Go ahead and click create to log 19 ticks. I clicked the button. It says crank count created. Probably should have loaded up this leaderboard first to see it was empty, but that's okay. Crank champ / leaderboard. Boom. Hey, did you do that?
I did. I beat you by one. I bested you. I thought 7 was going to be plenty, and then you told me 19. And I was like, shit, I got to get cranking.
And you did. And you beat me
I
by
did.
one.
I did.
Okay,
Look at that.
so,
We
like,
have a leaderboard, and I'm on top.
and like,
That's the way I like it. It's awesome.
Yeah.
End to end.
End to end. Okay, so now the thing is,
I love it.
I'm gonna pick up my play date here. I'm gonna go back to normal mode. I got 19, and I see now I need to get more. So I crank some more. I'm not telling you what I cranked to at this time. And then I'm gonna go back to the code screen. I'm gonna hit this with my phone again, and then we shall see what happens. I think what's gonna happen is I'll have 2 entries in this table.
I think so too. Unless, did you do anything in the Rails model side in regards to uniqueness?
Crank count created.
32.
So refresh.
Here it is. We got a new leader.
Okay, so there's like a few ways this could be tackled. We can work our way from the server down to the client. Or we can work from the client up to the server.
Well, can we talk about how you would handle it?
Yeah, sorry. I'm not saying the thing out loud. So I think what should happen is on the server, if you try to submit another count when you've already, if you try to create a new crank count record when you've already got one for today, that should be an illegal operation. And so that could be...
And where would you see that it was an illegal operation? In the web app?
Yes, correct. So when you hit the QR code and you go to that screen, it actually could already know that you've recorded for today.
Yeah,
That's
and
probably
invalidate the
smartest thing
game.
to do.
Basically give you like a like you do if you're playing like a New York Times game where you have to wait until the next day.
Yes, exactly.
For the next one, a waiting screen.
But we would still need to also block the post. So I might... I mean, if we don't...
If we were being good programmers.
If we don't, then Pavlos is going to just keep...
He's going to hack the system.
Yeah. So I think there's like 2 things on Rails. We need to make it so when you click create, that posts, and that needs to error. And that's like the foolproof quote unquote protection. And then another solution would be when we render that new page, we'll actually know that you've already submitted, and so we'll just give you a different message without the create button.
So maybe it's a different page entirely too, like a new screen.
Good.
Okay. Can I make a suggestion?
Yeah.
Let's kick that can down the road.
Okay.
And do that after we do the things that we did the homework for today.
Nice. Okay.
Like walk through your PR for the leaderboard.
Okay.
And then show the images, just because that way we're not going like another 4 weeks without the context of all the work that we just did.
Totally. Okay, mine's gonna be super fast. I'm gonna talk about stuff here. It's on the monolith. Get there quicker this way.
I'm gonna write down what we talked about though, before I forget.
Thank you. Okay, so on my monolithium Rails application, I made this stupid page, and to do that, I started with a system test, which is, like a browser test, and kind of went from there. So I've got 2 scenarios here, one when there are no crank counts for that day, and one there are a few crank counts for that day. I'm saying that day, it's like kind of clamped to today.
Yeah.
Like, whatever the server's notion of today is, but we'll come back to that. So like I visit the thing, I expect it to have the H1, and then like here's a message about there aren't any cranks yet.
Cool.
In my other scenario, I made the first, second, and last place crank users, and then I made crank counts for each of them. And you'll note that I did these things like out of order. I visit the page. I
Classic
parse,
John tactic.
I parse out the like the data, and then the expectation illustrates that it should be like the first place user's code with the first
Right.
place user's count, second place, last place.
So you're bearing a couple of assertions in here. One of them is that it displays all of them, and two is that it sorts them.
Correct. Yep.
Excellent.
So that was my spec.
Oh, wait, can you go back down? I saw a syntax that I don't know that I had seen before. 22. Star underscore rest. Is that that's basically like the dot dot dot
Yes.
thing, dot 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 rest in JavaScript.
Yeah. So row.all returns an array. I'm destructuring it on the left-hand side. I'm taking the first thing and the second thing and throwing away the rest.
And you don't care about the rest.
Actually,
and so underscore rest is the name of the variable, not just rest.
Yeah, underscore rest, underscore indicating that it's not being used. And then star is the Rubyism that's like the dot, dot, dot that you're thinking
Got
of
it.
in JavaScript.
Cool.
Yep.
Thank you.
Absolutely. Good question. Okay. To actually implement this, I started with a route. Or the second thing I did was do a route. I don't really know why I decided to do
Cybertail is a funny name.
Thanks. Crank. I don't know why I did like crank hyphen champ / leaderboard, but that's what I decided to do.
Okay.
And then I needed a controller.
Does that show up in the URL? Is that what that was showing me
Yep.
in that route? Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So URLs. It seems more idiomatic for URLs to have hyphens than underscores, right?
Yeah, but like when you make a new crank user or crank count, it's underscore because I
Yeah.
wasn't really thinking about friendliness. But anyway, we can figure that out.
This is like on GitHub how when you go to polls and you want to go to an individual one, it's like polls / number, but you go to issues and you want to go to an individual one, it's like issue singular /
I hate
number.
it. It's
It
like
drives
bad
me mad.
Yeah.
Yep. Anyways,
Man, it's 9:27 already. Jeez.
I know.
Okay, so my application controller enforces that you're signed in as an admin, and so whenever I'm making a page public, I have to use a skip before action annotation so that it doesn't try to verify that you're an admin. So that's what that line's about. And then I just make a crank counts variable that will be used in this HTML template, and its value is crank count.forLeaderboard.
Ah.
And that is
Neat.
the method that I made. Nope, that's not the right thing. Oh, it's right here. So I just say like where the cranked on is today.
Yep.
Order byte ticks. Descending, limit 10.
Whew. Are we gonna have to worry about time zones, John?
I'm not thinking about that right now.
Okay. UTC time.
And then the actual HTML, or actually HAML, I guess, looks like this. And is pretty boring.
Cool. So an if and else
Yeah.
for the empty state.
Yep.
Table header, table body, iterates through all the crank counts. Neat. That's real neat. Is there CSS associated with this particular view? Or do you just have something global that catches it?
I use Tailwind on this project, so I'm just using
Okay.
whatever Tailwind gives me for tables with like a
Got
little
it.
bit of tweaking.
Without any custom styling. Excellent.
And that's it. I mean, I can be done and you can kind of
It's pretty sweet.
take it from here.
So, so we learned that... Well, no, so does that leaderboard need to account for duplicates? It shouldn't, right? Because in the future, we won't allow duplicates to be submitted.
Right. So I think that we should catch them on the way in and ignore them. And then there wouldn't be anything to do from there.
Okay. So if Pavlos does figure out a way to hack it, he will have the entire leaderboard.
He won't be able to.
Okay.
I'm going to empty all the
appreciate your
data
confidence.
after I fix the bug.
Okay. Great. All right. You want me to show image stuff?
Yeah.
Or is there anything else you want to talk about here?
I don't think so. I mean, I'm super excited to see that we actually were able to do the whole thing on device. Things are showing up on the leaderboard. We have that bug. The game looks like crap, and so if there are ways we can
Indeed.
make it look better, I'm super interested in that. And I mean, why learn about playdate development but stop before we get into images,
Yeah.
which is a pretty core thing that you do in game development. So I think we should definitely spend time on this.
Okay, well, so I'm gonna leave you a little disappointed
Okay.
because I don't think it's an end state. It's more of a
Begin state.
milestone. It's a milestone towards that end state. That's how I'll lead it. All right, so I'm gonna present.
Okay.
Share screen. Entire screen. Tunnel vision. Can't see my keyboard. Okay. Let's see. I'm going to just. I think I have some stuff. Oh, I'll make this a little bigger for you, and then.
Whoa, why does your Nova look so weird?
Because it's VS Code.
Oh, oops.
But you know what is weird about it? What I don't understand about it is all the. So right now I'm on main, and I just added these things right here, so that I could also log some
I
cranks.
pushed on main, didn't you?
Trek user. Yeah, but I didn't pull it.
Oh, gotcha.
I just did this because I wanted to get back to where I was before, which is so let me discard everything that I have and go back to where I was, which is a non-dithered image. What was I going to say about this? Oh, so what's weird about it, I'm going to move this horizontal, is if I look at sprite screen. Wait, why is it not? Previously, it was all full of squigglies telling me that I was using things that didn't exist. I don't really understand VS. So if you notice, like as I hover over these things, like basically everything that is defined is of type unknown,
Right. Which,
and it's only the things that I'm using. So I don't really understand how it's working, how it's
Yeah.
doing any sort of like valid checking.
yeah.
Because is it like is it just saying anything I put here? Yeah, sure, that sounds good. So everything's in any type. But I don't believe that to be true because I was seeing tons of squiggly lines before we started this stream. Anyway, that's not important. What is important is what I started with was I wanted to be able to basically take a shape. I just wanted to take a simple shape that I could stick on the screen and I could see it rotate. So as I cranked, I would see it spin around. And what I started with was I went to Figma and I made a star with a gradient in the filling the inside of it. So I'll try to bump that up a little bit. So you can see and this is actually turned right now. Where is the angle? Oh, because I have the wrong thing. The group is rotated. So I just have like this gradient that goes from light to dark. I wanted to do this because I wanted to play around with dithering and make sure that I was seeing some sort of like shading effect or color effect on the image. Mm-hmm. And so initially, all I did was I took this image and I saved it as a transparent ping. Is that a thing?
Yeah.
Pings have transparency, right?
Yes.
I'm like just like throwing out words like I know what I'm talking about. And so this first example that I'm going to show you is basically what that looks like. So if I run this, I will just run this app in the Playdate simulator. And it's rendering the star, but I rendered it as is, like with that gradient on the inside. And I don't know how well you can see this, but it's just the outline of the star. That's all I see here. Yeah. So what I learned is that natively the Playdate will take any image that you give it, and it will attempt to apply some sort of like black and white filter to it. So if you had a purely black and white image or black and clear image or whatever, with all the pixels in the right place, it would probably show it accurately right here. But this is not what I was trying to get.
Right. Mm-hmm.
It doesn't look at all like I wanted it to.
Yep.
Before we get to how I fixed this, which was with dithering, I just want to show that I changed a little bit of stuff. If we look at our main Lua, I kind of I definitely hacked it. I don't want to look at the cranks. What I want to look at is the init. This is something that we've talked about with our code, is that there's something funny about how we have in the init, we call the render function on the screen. And also on an update, oh, maybe not. No. What am I thinking of? So there's something funny with like the distinction between init and render, where is it in here where we render it again? Oh, it's probably because I don't have that branch shit down.
Probably
Here, let's go back.
You have modifications.
Yeah. Anyways, yes. So it's on the cranked event. We're re-rendering the entire screen with the normal screen. I'm not doing that. What I did with this new screen, is I added an init method. And if we look at like the normal screen init method, all it does is initialize some game data. And then we have the render method, which clears itself and then redraws a sprite. So every time this thing gets rendered, which it turns out when you're cranking is like every single tick, basically, or every game tick, not every cycle of the crank. Yep. And so I just kind of messed around with that a little bit, and what I did was instead, for the sprite screen in the init, I stick the sprite on the screen right away, like put it there, because once it's there, I'm, at least in this first case, for right now, I'm not gonna re-render it at all. I am gonna show you the rotation before I move to how I fixed the dithering, because we're in a good place. So this is important to me because I didn't want to have to clear it and re-render it, because I learned that there is, on a sprite, there is a set rotation function. And so if I just set that rotation to a new position, which is based on, if I jump back to my main on the left, and I look at my crank, this is totally hacked from what it was in main. I get the crank position, and then instead of re-rendering the normal screen, calling normal screen render with the new ticks, I'm just calling it with the position of, and so that position is basically like the degrees in the circle. Mm-hmm. So when you're at the top, it's 0. When you're at the bottom, it's 180. Back at the top, it's 360, etc. So depending on where your crank is, I call sprite screen update with that position, and then call set rotation on the sprite. And there is, this function does just built in, it will rotate something for you. But it looks like crap. So let's see what it looks like. So if I jump back here, it's kind of small. And I don't think I can make it bigger, right?
You could make your entire screen bigger?
I can make my entire 2x display. Perfect. Yeah.
Ooh.
Okay, so I'm going to just start cranking this thing, and you can see it turn. But I don't know if you can also see this through the stream. It kind of twinkles as it turns. Mm-hmm. Do you see that?
I can. You also 2x'd, and I see some artifacts from the 2xing, so it's a little hard for me to see which things are from the 2xing and which things are from your...
From rotating the image.
Satisfaction from this way. But.
Well, so what I can tell you is most of the twinkling, and you can identify this because right in this position, if you look at this line and this line, these are straight up and down. If I rotate it a slight bit to the right, you start to see
like distortions.
It's because to draw on a line at that angle, it's pixelated. It's like up, over, etc. This is all stuff I totally remember from when I was trying to draw stuff in like Microsoft Paint in the 90s and 2000s. It's ridiculous. 90s probably. Mm-hmm. And so anyways, so it is cool that this is built in. This set rotation is built in. However, it's not, I don't think, what we want, because it does get, if we do also look at, not menu, highlight screen updates, obviously, like every time we spin it, it updates, which is probably fine, but that's obviously what's happening because it is rotating it. Also, part of the point is that this thing, now think about if I had this thing dithered, so that it did have stuff filled in, how much twinkling action you would see there. it would just be a
kinda
total
nuts.
distraction. It would look, yeah, it would look like we made a shitty game.
Okay.
Okay, so that
That would be a
is
lateral move.
yes, absolutely. So that was step one. Do you have any questions or things that you want me to dig into more with that?
And I see, where's sprite screen in main.lua? Like, where's the actual init?
So in the init function here, I hacked our I hacked our screen decision logic. So that's basically, well, I added the menu item for sprites. Who cares? I don't actually use it because instead what I do is on the, where is it? Sprite screen. Somewhere I made it so that it just always, I thought I did. I don't know why I thought I had done something to intentionally make it just always pull up the sprite screen. I didn't care about getting to any of the other
Yeah,
screens.
I think you did that, but it's not in the init function. If you go back to the top, on line 23, when you say local sprite screen equals sprite screen parens, on line 23 on the left, that's calling the init function, which would render.
Which draws the stuff, yeah. Yes, yeah.
So 23 is happening outside of the init function. Okay.
I was thinking that I had to call this explicitly, but you're right.
Well,
If I get rid of this,
38 is,
Yeah.
38 is never reached.
Right, I'm not hitting it.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Okay, so that's interesting. So I totally missed that. So that is part of the kind of the weird situation that we were talking about, where like we're knitting, but we're doing some graphics. Is that weird? It's certainly weird now.
But I totally get it because I see how a knitting with the star sprite in our state means then that when we call update on ourselves, we have a handle to that thing, and then we can call set rotation, although
Yeah.
you may blow this out of the water with your next step.
Yeah, I think what it is that there's an init, which is I kind of lost track of the fact that this is the constructor.
Right.
I think we also want something like sprite screen first render. You know what I mean? Where there's kind of some construction of like, this is where we first dump the sprites onto the screen, so that when we're updating, we're not like, we don't have to re-render everything if we don't need to.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, some of these like screen class patterns were pretty naive because we only have
Oh, for sure.
extremely basic
Yeah.
needs. And so I think now what you're bumping up against is like, it's not really the right abstraction. So it's like I abstracted really early because I wanted some of those patterns, but then now,
Yeah.
It's like,
Well, I think we're just learning like maybe the patterns are slightly different.
yeah. Okay,
than
anyway,
what we thought were.
so
Yeah.
in the init, we make a new image, and that's graphics.image, new past path. And then that becomes the input to sprite.new. I guess I'm a little
Yes.
confused about why sprite is...
Oh, I did a stupid thing because I was copying examples. I will say there was a extremely helpful YouTube video, Create Your First Sprite, by Franchovy, 72 subscribers. This was extremely helpful for me doing this at all. And I was basically following what he was doing, which was to alias graphics.sprite as this stupid, which it looks like it's like a member variable or something, but it's not. It's a reference to the namespace.
I've seen the docs advise doing this, so totally makes sense. Okay, so we say sprite.
I don't like it. I don't like it because I wanted to name the variable sprite.
Yeah. Okay, and then it's like star sprite move to such and such. Then we add it.
Right, we've
And
done
then
this stuff before.
And then on 12 is where we set it up as like state on ourselves.
Yes.
Okay, got it. Makes sense.
Also, John, I did a little bit of learning about this situation, the colons versus the dots. And what I learned, and it's still not totally clear to me, is if I call on the calling side, I don't totally know if on the definition side this is exactly the same. But on the calling side, if I do something like, or actually I could do it right here, self.star sprite set rotation position, this is the exact same thing as doing self star sprite dot set rotation passing self.star sprite, the thing that it's on. Yeah, so there's like a little bit of syntactical magic happening to basically say if you use colon instead of dot, it just means that the first argument is actually going to be the thing that you're calling this on. Which also suggests, like, we were kind of like trying to figure out, like, is this related to the fact that I have an instance of a class versus a static method on a class? It is along those lines, but it also, in addition, passes that into the method. I don't understand it totally, but that was a little bit of clarity for me.
Yep, understood. Okay, so
okay, you ready to move to dithering?
Yes.
So dithering is this is kind of a repetition for you. Like you and I lived this experience already with Pavlos when he was doing the artsy game.
Yeah.
So some of this is maybe a little bit of recap, but dithering is like that effect that you see in especially 2-bit games where it's like lots and lots of dots to give the effect of different shades of gray or gradient. And so what it looks like,
because the display is only capable of on or off, and so
exactly.
you have to get at shading with other approaches.
Exactly. Yep. And so there are so many options I found within the. Oops.
Oh, to make.
That's not what I expected.
To make dithered images.
Yes, within the Playdate forums, people are linking to like all these different tools for dithering images, like Decker, Ditherit, which does a thing to that. Dither me this, Canvas Dither, which takes this image and you get all these different algorithm choices. Anyways, what I ended up doing was actually using this one, Canvas Dither, and I chose a file, and let's start with star 1. I took this original star with the white pointed at the top, and I plugged it in here, and I made it bigger, and hopefully you can see. Does this look spotty to you? Speckled?
I can kind of see it.
You can see the dithering effect. Okay. So basically I just took one of those stars, I stuck it in here, and I dithered it. And the reason and with that, I basically then wanted to try this set rotation to see what that looked like. So let's just browse that. I need to get rid of everything, and I actually need to go back to, oops. One before this, so 687 F8. 687 F8. Okay, so this is now a dithered image. Never mind the fact that the commits are out of order. Doesn't mean anything. So now I'm running this. You can see, I think it looks better, right?
I mean,
like you have a gradient.
It didn't even have the gradient before, so we're on the right track.
But if we rotate it, oops, let me get rid of the highlight screen updates so we can see. But as we rotate, yeah, you can see pixels kind of dance around quite a bit.
Yep.
It looks very shimmery.
Mm-hmm.
It also weirdly looks off center to me, but I don't know why that is. You can see kind of like rotating, and I think that might just be how I created the image. Maybe I didn't have it centered in the frame. Okay, so this was fine, still not what I wanted. So then the next thing I was thinking was, realistically, if I think about like a classic, Game Boy game or something, I think of, I would anticipate as I was cranking, I wouldn't see it rotate like that. I would see it jump like from here to here to here to here to here. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that was the next thing that I played with, was how do you take this, and if I have a sprite based on the crank position getting to a certain spot, how do I then shift the the image to be one where it points to like the top right.
Nice.
And so for this, what I had to do, this is where I learned a little bit more about Spritesheets. And so I have a link that kind of, I think, shows. This is from the forum. So basically, it talks about creating an image table to represent a sprite. And then, so in this image, you can see there's this sheet of 8 different images of a treasure chest opening. So 1, it's closed, then it's slightly more open, etc. as you move down the line. And then there are restrictions around how you name a table. It has to end in /table/dimensions of each sprite within the table.
Okay.
And then what you can do, you initially loaded it. Sorry, I'm going to just make this thing full size. So you load it by assigning the image table to the images of the sprite. And then by default, I think it just picks the first one. And then later on, there is like this images, sorry, not images getling. Where is it? Set image. There's a set image function that we'll use to tell it which number of image to get. Ours is going to look way simpler than this. This is like trying to like rotate through based on specific logic, but ours isn't going to look like that.
Something like that.
Something like that. So how do I get from that star that I had to a sprite sheet of what I wanted to do with it was if I go back to Figma and I rotate this 72 degrees to the right, or sorry, to the left, you'll see the white is now pointing directly. Like it's the exact same position, except the white is now pointing over there.
Got it.
And then if I do 144, and this is just geometry, but it's etc. So like there's basically 5 positions, right? White at the top, white at there, white there, white there, white there. And as we rotate, if we just like move the white, it gives that effect of rotation. Okay, so what I did was I exported all 5 positions from Figma.
Okay.
And then I took it into that dithering tool again.
Okay.
And
dithered
I don't have
each one, right?
dithered each one.
Yeah.
And then there are also 8 million different tools for combining them. The one that I found recommended multiple times is this one called Piskel. So what I can do is I can import into here an image, and we'll say star D1. So that's dithered, the first dithered position. I'm going to import it as single image, resize to 96 by 96. Okay. Yes, that's fine. So that replaces that. Then I add a new frame. And then I import into that second frame the second position. Replace, I think. Oh no, I screwed up. Whatever. Basically, you end up getting all of these things in here.
Yep.
And then it's just confusing because like you want to combine it in existing frames. That's what I want. And then it replaced a different one. I don't really understand what's going on. But anyways, you can see on the right here, it's like kind of rotating through each one of them.
Yeah.
Let's get rid of this one, then it'll be a little more clear that it's just 2 of them. You can see it shimmying back and forth between the 2.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got to 5 of these, and then I was able to export these, and it exports them as a table, just as we want. So all of them are right next to each other. If I look at my assets folder, I moved too fast.
What do you mean by it exports them as a table? Meaning
as a sprite sheet. Let me show you. Let me get to my correct commit. Sprites, is that what it is? Yes. Okay, so in the assets here, I now have 3 of them. The first one was the dithered one. Second one is the non-dithered one. Actually, we looked at them in the opposite order. But then it exports it in this format where it's like 96 pixels by 96 pixels laid out next to each other all in a row. And this is the format that playdate wants, so that it does some magic behind the scenes where if I load this into an image table, this becomes state 1, state 2, state 3, state 4,
It just handles all that
state
for
5.
you? That's so
It
nice.
kind of does, yeah. It's pretty magical. Like I had to name it a specific thing, starsheet -table -9696. Although actually, I don't know that that's true, because if I go back to my code, I think I had to eventually specify it. I had to specify that full path. So I think I could name it whatever the F I want. Yeah, so if you look at this init function, this is now a little bit different. It spins up an image table with that sprite sheet, and then creates a new sprite, assigns the images to that image table, and then sets the image to the first one, and then draws it on the screen. And then to do the rotation, if we look at the cranked event here, do you remember get crank ticks? How we were using it with a 1 as the argument, and so it would tell us every time we got around once. Now what I'm doing is there are 5 different positions within the circle that I want to capture. Every time you get to one of them, it returns a 1 instead of a 0. I'm basically accumulating them. This feels like I'm doing something wrong. Like there's probably a better way to do this, but I'm accumulating them and then updating with however many I've accumulated so far, mod 5, so I get the remainder. So like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 is going to look the same as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then my update is basically I set the image, and I grab the image based on the number that you send it to me, the position that you sent it to me, 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. Does that all make sense?
This makes sense and it's so cool.
And so then if we look at what it looks like in the simulator, we can kind of rotate through, and you see it doesn't look as nice as I thought it would. And I think it's just because the image in particular is like it's not super conducive to this kind of thing. Like it's too similar on all 5 points, with just the white part being different. You know, if I were to put like a ball at the end of one of them, it'd be more obvious.
Sure.
You know, something to make it more obvious that you're
But the
rotating.
technique, you've demonstrated that the technique works.
Exactly. Yeah. So it's like kind of proof of concept. I think from here we can take it and we can like start to figure out what are the images that we want. You know, balloons expanding and popping, or like power bars filling up, or whatever it is. Something.
So nice that you figured out image table.
Yeah. It was confusing, and I did not know what I was doing, but I feel better about it today.
This is great. Good work.
I don't have a PR for you,
That's okay.
but I think it's like I said, it's like milestone, and we can. It's already busted just based on the fact that I like mutilated the whole app so that it only displayed my screen.
Well,
But-
you should push this to my repo, and then I can bring it down in Tinker too.
I will do that. That sounds good.
Awesome.
We are out of time, John.
We're out. We're done.
How did that happen?
You did your homework. I did my homework. We showed our
Holy
homework.
crap.
That's it.
We both get an A?
Yes.
Do kids get A's, or does he get A's and B's, or does he get 3s and 4s and 2s and 1s? Sorry, I started with 3s and 4s. I should have maybe not made that assumption. 2s and 1s.
I don't know. I've never
No.
seen.
You've never looked at the grades.
No. All right. I'm gonna end the stream now. What?
All right.
Oh, what are we gonna do next time?
Yeah. Next time we're gonna do some error trapping on protecting us on both the server and the client from double dipping, we've called it. And then we can also, maybe we'll kind of chat offline a little bit about what kind of visual thing we want to present for that cranking experience.
Love it.
Cool. All right, John. You did great today.
Hey, you know what? I think you've earned